All right. Welcome back to Eyes Open Media. Hope you guys liked Apostle John Eckhart's reset prayers there and reset word of God from the Lord for 2017. I think he was just giving one example there of what the Lord has showed him. So let's talk about Abadi and Obama. As you guys can see, the title of this video is Will Abadi allow Obama to reap the revaluation reward? Okay, because that's what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago on the main channel 365. Subscribe to the main channel Currency 365. But anyways, and also subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It is growing 1200 over 1200 now. So I think we'll be at 2000 in the blink of an eye. Especially if Musa was given to us in the next 2 weeks like we believe it will. Anyways, so what is going on here? What is going on? All right, you can see the picture from 2015. This is a picture that we used before on the main channel to do a report on. And you can see the picture in 2016. But the picture in 2015 is where Christine Lagarde and Obama and another guy. I'm not sure who that is. Not sure if that is David Cameron or somebody else. But anyways, you can see how they purposely were ignoring Abadi and his. I'm not sure that's the guy from the CBI. It looks like the guy from the CBI that was with him. One of the guys from the CBI, I think, or maybe just one of his administrative guys. PMs, one of the PMs. But you can see the difference between last year, 2015 and last year, 2016, how Obama and Christine Lagarde purposely, turned their backs on Abadi because he came to ask for more money and he didn't have things done. Okay, and they were just very, very upset that he was coming down to ask for more money, and needed more time to get things done. Okay, at that point in time, Ramadi, it was summertime, so it's like Ramadi wasn't even done. Nothing was done, and so it was a time in history where we look back and we like, okay, that was significant because what happened was after that, that incident there, and everybody saw them turn their backs on Abadi. What happened was several weeks later, Abadi comes out September 2015 and declares his life on the line for the reforms. Remember that? And so this was a turning point in history. This was a turning point in the prophecy of the Iraqi dinar and the in the global reset and all the other things. This was the history because the guys Obama and Christine Lagarde and the other guy and the others turned their back on this man because he was taking so long to complete the things he was supposed to complete, and he had nothing done, and he wanted to beg and he wanted to ask for more funds. So Abadi saw that and he was looking at his clock saying, man, how much time do we have? I want to get back to Iraq. And he's looking at his clock. This was significant because when Abadi got home, he knew exactly what he had to do. He had to put his life on the line for the reforms, and he had to remove the corruption out of his government, out of his country, and that's exactly what started to happen. He announced that he was going to lay his life for the reforms, and then he was going to remove corruption, and he took a big step in the prophetic, to do this because it had to be somebody like him or somebody close to have his mental capacity to get this done. Because if it wasn't Obadi, or somebody like Obadi that wanted, Iraqis back into purchasing power and back into the global markets, we will still be stuck here going, what is going on? Okay, and it will be a never-ending roller coaster because corruption was so deep in Iraq. No one knew how corrupt Iraq was except for Abadi and Maliki and the CBI governor and the finance committee. Okay, now we had no clue how corrupt these people were. Even Abadi had to come out and say when they were going through these files and everything, Abadi said everything is corrupt. That's all we know is corruption. Okay, that's all we know. So that was huge, knowing that these people go to the mosque on Saturday, but they're filled with corruption. They're filled with killing, stealing, and corruption and money laundering, and no sense of pride for their country, for their people. The government was just evil, but yet they every Friday they're going to the mosque pretending they're holy. And that's exactly what's going on around this world. We got a bunch of people pretending to be holy, but yet so evil inside, so money hungry, will do anything for the love of fame and money and wealth, and they're so empty inside. The devil is using them and destroying them. And so that's what was going on in Iraq. And so as the times went on and the corruption was getting dealt with and people were mysteriously dying, okay, as we saw in 2015, we saw a bunch of people just mysteriously die. We saw a bunch of people in Iraq just vanish. We saw people leave the country and fly out. Some people were even trying to take 10, $20 million out of the country and fly to London and Europe and all the other places and Dubai and things like that just to get out because they were starting to hammer the corruption. And then we move into 2016, and the United States start to come back in strong publicly. They were already there in 2015, but they made it public in 2016 with Obama. Even though I told you Obama was that Obama was already having troops in Iraq, then he was lying about it, that he was going to finally confess that yes, there is troops in Iraq and there's a lot of them. In 2016, we see that was the case. Obama confessing that it was a lie about the troops in Iraq, and we have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of troops in Iraq. Okay, so and then now we even sending more and more and more troops to Iraq, okay, and in the Syrian border. So this is, it's getting out of hand. There's so many troops in the Iraqi-Syrian border and around Israel as well, because more wars are about to happen once they give us this revaluation. So we've seen all of that. We see the United States, UST, take over the central bank of Iraq because of so much corruption from Alak and everybody else in that bank, funding terrorism and things of that nature. Iraq CBI has to sign a letter with these UST and the Federal Reserve that they won't fund terrorism any longer with the funds from the auctions. I mean, this is a disgrace. The fact that they can even sign something like that and Alak can stay in the position that he's in tells us a lot, that they don't have anybody else. Unless America puts somebody in there. These people confess to funding terrorism through the auctions, and they had to sign a letter with the UST and the Federal Reserve that they wouldn't do that any longer, and that the UST will finally have full oversight with the feds over their central bank. Okay, and then what's going to happen is different international companies will have oversight of their bank. It's embarrassed. That was embarrassing to even find out that information, but it had to be done that way. And then going forward, we see that many of these, the Americans came in there early and got everything, situated for removing Daesh. And then the Peshmerga forces went in there and then eliminated so many people in so many provinces in Iraq. And then finally, the Iraqi forces, when everything is 90% completed, they go in there for the 10% kill. And now that's where we are right now. And as you saw from this picture at the bottom, Abadi, because so much has been done, so much was taken care of, so much corruption was dealt with and everything, he gets to stand in front of Obama, and Obama has his full attention looking at him, and Abadi gets to stand in the front. Okay, so now it's been the last 6 months has been basically Obama and the Democrats begging Abadi to speed it up. Now remember, spring 2016, Obama said that Mosul would take until the September to be completed. Because why? Because Obama thought that Mosul would be completed and then he would see the liberation and he would see the revaluation before he exited out of presidency. Well, that's not happening. Then Obama came and said in September, we're looking for it to be completed by the end of the year. Even Hillary Clinton at the debate said it, and Donald Trump was saying the same thing. Why? Because Obama thought that he was going to have this thing done and they were going to return to the international world by the end of the year. And so did the IMF. That was not the case. Okay, the IMF did pass them in their review, and then the United Nations came out and said they only have one item left to do. That's pay Kuwait for Chapter 7 and pay their dues. Well, if they got to pay dues, they're out of Chapter 7. So United Nations declared them out of Chapter 7. And now, in the name of Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, okay, we're waiting on the UN to remove them out of Chapter 7. And, I know Kuwait wants to, their last payment in revalued money. And we also want to see the revaluation as well for ourselves, but also for the for the people in Iraq that need the purchasing power. So now what's left? We're waiting on Mosul. We're waiting on Mosul, and what Abadi did in December, he halt Mosul for 2 weeks in some areas, and that put a strain to Obama and his administration. Okay, so now it looks like we're at January 9th as I'm speaking right now. Only 11 days left until Trump is inaugurated as the new president, and Obama's administration are probably going crazy, because Mosul is not completed yet, and there looks like the revaluation won't happen in his presidency unless something drastically changes in the next 11 days. Okay, so if I'm Obama, I'm calling Abadi and I'm saying, yo, look, man, the past is the past. I gave you the front in the picture. I let you stand in front of the world proud. And man, I'm gonna send you $10 million. I'm gonna send you $20 million, man. Please plant that flag in Mosul and lift that value for my legacy. That's what I would be doing if I was Obama. I wouldn't be worried about Russia. I wouldn't be worried about any of that other stuff that they're making up. I wouldn't be worried about all the false flags that have been happening the last couple of weeks. I wouldn't worry none. I would be worried about calling Abadi and asking him to please save my legacy with this revaluation. And I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I see that Abadi remembers what happened in 2015. He remembers the hatred he has for Obama. He remembers that Obama is not allowed into his country and many countries into the Middle East. He understands that he doesn't care about the Democratic Party. He's excited about Donald Trump. He's excited about the new administration that's going to work with him and actually do something with him. So he's probably thinking to himself, I don't want Obama to get this revaluation. I want Donald Trump to get this revaluation because Obama has hated me for 8 years, and I remember what he did by pulling those troops out and killing all those innocent people as ISIS started and Maliki started to take dictatorship and control of Iraq. If he had kept those troops in there, regardless of what the laws were, he could have used executive order like he's done for everything else, for all the wicked stuff he's done, but he couldn't use executive order to keep the troops in it and make sure the revaluation went through and Iraq was safe. And what happened was the United States military left and millions were killed because of it. And they begged the military to stay, and they knew that they were going to be killed by ISIS and Daesh. And Abadi remembers that, and he's not letting that go. In 2015, he remembers that as well. So this is what's going on. Look, he made truce with Turkey. Maybe he can do it before, with Obama this week, so he can, plant the flag and raise that value for Obama's legacy. We don't know. We'll continue to watch. But I know Obama and his administration are very nervous that this is going to go to Trump, and Trump's probably raising his hand like, "Bring it on, baby! I would love to start my presidency with a revaluation of the Iraqi dinar." Okay, so we're watching closely. We're watching East Mosul come to an end in the next 72 hours or less, and then Western Mosul as well is 75% completed, and we're going to watch Mosul come to an end and the lifting of the value. So talk to you guys later. Eyes open.